Hello, I'm Sandy, founder of Just Travel with Sandy, and I help women move past travel overwhelm so they can explore the world with confidence, ease, and joy. And I also work as a travel advisor, curating meaningful, stress free trips for my clients from start to finish. And this is the podcast where we talk about real life travel, how to plan it, enjoy it. And I've just written a book. It's been officially launched. It's called The Travel Lounge Life. And it's really a memoir. It's not a travel guide, and it's a candid look at how travel really has shaped me and my life and how it can transform yours too. I'm very excited today to have with us here our guest, Mirka Christina Ramen. I hope I'm
Yes.
not butchering your name. And she left her government job to become a
Mhm.
coach, a travel coach, and we have so much in common, which I love. We had a great conversation a while ago, and she guides others through curated retreats and coaching journeys and really believes in the self connection and nature as being part of that. So I'm going to hand it over to Mirka. I'm going to let her introduce herself and her transformation, and we'll go from there. Mirka, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Sandy. So good to see you. I'm so happy to be here again. I remember our last discussion and I just felt so connected as you mentioned. So thank you for having me as your guest. Hi. Last time we spoke, spoke to you from Finland, which is my native country and where I used to work as a bureaucrat. It's about just a year ago when I took the flight. I was burnout professional, took a 180-day sabbatical, flew from Helsinki to Peru, and that's where the journey started. I'm still on that journey. Right now, I'm talking to you from Denia, Spain, where I work on building curated retreats and coaching journeys.
I love that. I love that you took that sabbatical to find to yourself. I'd love to hear more about the Machu Picchu, but that's not what this call is about, but because that's actually on my bucket list for sure. You're talking about transformative travel and reconnection with self, which is actually, I did a talk yesterday about how travel really allows us to reconnect with ourselves. So I love that you're on that same wave. What would you say when we really stop and become intentional? What what happens? What changes in a human or in a woman, I should say?
I think we all should owe ourselves some time and start listening. It can be very scary at first because we are used to. I myself, I'm in a transition. Many of us are in a way, or we seek something different. We are bogged up doing what we are doing. It's busy and full of noise, the work, the family, this and that. And then there may become a moment that, hey, what about me? We should give us the time and space. And sometimes taking a distance allows us to see more clearly. You talk about bucket list. I had a bucket list in my mind. If I have a sabbatical, if I have enough time, 6 months, that's a great time. And hey, it's that time goes fast. But the first thing was going to Machu Picchu after the bucket list. But once I'm there, that was where certain calm, transportive moment came to me. And I saw this one sign. It says one way only. And I realized that there is no one way only. I had to go quite far to see that there's not only one way. And from that moment on, I go to US. I continue to travel the world where I used to live in USA and return to Spain, where was another big trans moment. I'm driving alone for 5 weeks in Spain, 3,000 kilometers, solo first time, really grounding solo travel. And that was so empowering moment. And I recognize too that it can be a bit scary to start something alone as a woman. I hear that a lot of people I talk with, oh, but how would I manage? And it's sometimes helpful that there is some sort of a structure in your trip. Like I went to see a friend in Mijas, Spain. She had changed her life. She was living there. She was coaching from there. So when I drove to her, that gave a connection to something on my trip. And being there with her and discussing, I repeated certain things which she repeated back to me. And I realized what I'm going through, eventually traveling back where I am now. Long story, you might be seeing in the background this painting. Those are bougainvilleas that she painted for me because she found herself on that trip. She's no longer working the old job either. She's coaching in Spain and she's a painter. So this Alma de Verano is back with me in my home, Denia, reminding me of the solo trip of 5 weeks I did in Spain, which led me back to myself, helped me to see that I can manage on my own. I'm 55. I've restarted my life here in Denia, doing something totally different than I was when I started my journey about a year ago.
I love that you said that because it's so interesting because I literally just recorded a speech yesterday for a summit and it's exactly about that. It's about first of all, a lot of women, I think, especially women, think that they're too late, like it's too late. And I'm like, there is no too late. So for me, my goal is I'll be 60 next year. By my 60th birthday, to make a big transition and into Europe. And I truly believe that so many women feel so stuck because they don't they all their lives they've been wearing the many hats, the mom, the business, the children, the family, the husbands, the work, and they don't really listen to themselves and reconnect with themselves. So I love that you're going through that coaching program to really allow, and how travel can really bring you to that, how it really can guide you to yourself is really what it's about.
Absolutely, because we this is the main our main problem. We do everything for everybody. We are the responsible ones. We stay latest in the work. We do this and that. Okay, yes, you need to do that. How about us really listening
Right.
and what we want to do? And what I realized too, I had become so routine to do certain things, drive the same route, do this, do those meetings, do that. And once you get out of it, you do something different, it becomes the way for you to move forward. I was
Oh,
scared to drive a stick shift. I was scared to drive without having a navigator. I ended up renting a little Fiat and finding my way the old way I used to. It reminded me of moving to USA in 90s. I didn't have anything else then either. And find my way. And that's again what I repeated with my coaching friend who made the painting. I kept on saying that, yeah, did before. Went to USA. I moved to Bangladesh. I've lived in 4 countries in my life. I went back to Finland. I took my whole family in there. I have always managed. And she's like, why wouldn't you manage now? But I am turning 55. Well, I kept on going back to that. And there is never too late. I'm again a living testament. You are, we all are. We should empower each other. What she did to me, and I love doing that to others, repeating back to the same limiting beliefs we tend to
yeah,
have and say,
absolutely.
no, it wouldn't be the right time. How could I give myself? How could I just do something for myself? Hey, we journey with ourselves all our lives. And that's the most important person we have.
Exactly. I was just talking to somebody, trying to remember where, but I was talking to somebody and they knew somebody who was 70 and moved to Italy because it was from America. She was an American lady. Her
Mhm.
husband, she and her husband were going to retire in Italy together. He passed away. She says, I'm still going. She took her little dog and she moved to Italy and she's been there for 3 years now. It's never too late. Age, it's so cliche. Age is just a number, but I really feel like, and I feel like people are older because they make themselves older. It's like, it's such a different time. So I love that. This is another thing that I talked about yesterday. It's travel is not about the bucket list, about checking off. I've been to the Louvre, I've been to the Montmartre, it's not about that. It goes so much deeper. So touch a little bit about on that.
Yeah, that's the thing. As I mentioned before about the Machu Picchu, I had to see it, but okay, I saw it. That was a transportive moment. I sensed the calm. There was a special thing about the place, but it was not the Machu Picchu. It was the deep dive I did in myself at the moment when I was there. Now, I don't travel anymore to places. I don't care that I would have to go anywhere. I'm happy where I am right now. And it's not about the journey, the kilometers, miles I do around the world anymore, or those tickets, bucket lists I boxed. Yeah, I don't even want to count. I've been to countless dozens of countries, but it's not about that. Every journey we are different and we learn more of ourselves. We are very much the products of where we come from. It's the little aquarium we live in. And only once we get out of that helps. It doesn't have to be the bucket list destination. It may be doing something new even in your own environment. Getting out, going even to any other country can really give you a new perspective of yourself, how the things can be different as well. And setting the intention, that's what I learned. Without knowing, I did intentional journey, what I did last year. I didn't fully understand it before. I'm now really understanding what all I've been doing. But being alone in Finland, in my cottage, I've been living about my personal life, been living separate from my husband for a long time, and being in that lakeside cabin. There I learned to be alone, and in the nature that surrounds you, I felt that I was part of something bigger. The nature and the elements of Finnish forest, the water, the sauna, the change of temperatures, that really got me back to my senses, and that also empowered me to finally journey further alone, what I never had done before. The lonely moments there I learned to listen to the silence and nature and myself,
Mhm.
and that empowered me. And then giving myself that intention to go further, that helps me go further every day and go deeper
Mhm.
in myself.
And I love that you say that, listening to the stillness, because that's how I always look at it too. And what I had mentioned, there was a lady with me in Ireland who had never been outside of America, and she was 71, and led a group of 7 to Ireland last, well, just like ages ago. It was just a couple of weeks
Mm.
ago.
Mhm.
But there
Right.
was, I know, right? Is hold on, but it just happened.
Mm.
And in June, and she'd never been outside of America, and it gave her so much confidence and so much clarity. And it was just like you said, the word you used, empowering. It can be
Mm.
so empowering. And I also believe it doesn't have to be a country across the pond. It can be 2 hours away in the mountains somewhere. It doesn't matter. It's not about the destination. Absolutely.
No, it's really allowing yourself time, setting the intention. What I do, I have this luontopolku. Luontopolku means nature trail in Finnish. And in Finland, I maybe you've heard of, in Japan, they also go to the forest path. They go there to find the silence. To me, Finland, we move. Walking, the movement triggers the brain differently. And what I work with people now, I set intention. We think about, or I think about myself too. Okay, I'm here. What do I want to hear from me? What is something I'm maybe struggling with now? And
Mhm.
when we set the intention and go out, do an activity, preferably in the nature, go somewhere. Here, I hike the mountain El Montco, that's guardian of us in Denia, where I stay now, and that's an important place for me. And you start listening to yourself. No pressure,
Mhm.
just move on. And when you stop somewhere where you want to stop, and then you start looking at something, you start seeing things, and you start getting cues back. I get chills even now when I talk about it. You start hearing from inside you, around you, how the world is speaking to you, what you should hear.
Right.
I am a strong believer that we know inside. We just need to allow us to listen. And it can be scary at first, what you talked about too. You feel the same, that because the silence is something we need to accept. We
Yeah.
tend to fill our radio, listening to books, watching something. We don't have to do something all the time. We need
Right.
to listen to ourselves. And that's where we find the happiness to go on. So,
That is so true, because I was driving with somebody in somewhere, and when I drive, sometimes I'll turn on an audiobook, but most of the time I just drive in silence. And the person said, "Don't you want to turn on the radio?" I'm like, "No." "You want to turn on
yeah.
some music?" I'm like, "No."
Were they disturbed by the silence?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. People
Mm.
are just, and to me, I always say this to my partner, silence is the most beautiful sound to me. And that's why meditation and just going within, or going out in nature, and it's never really silent, right? When you
Mm.
think about it. Right? So I love, love, love that. Touching on that, and I can't pronounce the word, but you talked about nature-based practice from your
Yes.
something program.
So
Not even
long
gonna go
ago,
there.
but I feel that I got back to my senses emotionally, literally. So I created my own signature program, Luontopolku, which means nature trail in Finnish.
Okay.
It's back to your senses program where there is a light exercise that you could do yourself. And anybody who might be get intrigued and find my journey studio, the journeystudio.co is my website. If you order my newsletter, I provide this exercise for everyone just to practice mindfulness, the luontopolku nature trail on their own. It doesn't have to be in nature. It could be in a city. It would be good if it's in a new place, something totally new.
Mm,
You don't go back to looking, seeing things you always do, but really start listening. So it's a very simple but a powerful practice to try on your own. Then I do these graded retreats and one-on-one coaching journeys where we work deeper in a similar practices, working with people depending where they're coming from. Whether I have a lot of people here who are in transition on their own. I myself, for example, had empowerment then to change my lifestyle, leave move in here, change my work that I do, and also discontinue my relationship. I finally filed for a divorce, which was a long due. But it had to be my 6 month traveling on my own that then there was the time to do that. So people may be seeking something else. They want to be self connected, burnout, sabbatical, want something new, find themselves that would make them happy with. So they do their own journey, maybe here, come to a retreat or travel wherever they wish to travel. And I'm there before, during, and after doing some practices. And journaling is a very important
mm.
part of it as well. I'm also about, and congratulations, Sandy, about your book. I'm so happy. It's
Thank
something
you.
so wonderful to get the book out. I'm also a writer and I'm a published author. So journaling is a very good tool. We don't have to write a lot, but some simple notes, maybe even draw something, what triggers. And that's part of this practice as well, that you make some notes for yourself. When I started my sabbatical, I was too tired to write anything. There were days I didn't write anything. I didn't know what to write. Then I started making notes. And now, when I go back to the notes I've been making from last September on, when I started feeling better, I knew many things already. And the
Mhm.
clarity has just increased.
And
And
came.
I think what's very important also is then the integration, the trip. What I see a lot when people, when we travel, we are tired when we come back home. Okay, it was great. I
Mhm.
felt wonderful. Then we go, oh, need to go back to this. And then life returns and we forget it. In just a few days,
Right.
it's gone. Nothing stayed
Right.
with us. No, we need to, whatever we it's not one journey, it may be many journeys, it's many transportive moments after one another, but something that triggered us, something that clicked on that Luontopolku personal experience we did, or on the trip we did, where we again maybe drove ourselves or were on solo and joined somebody somewhere, something that stayed, and I noted it down, or memento I collected, the rock from that beach, or
Yeah.
the pine cone
Yeah.
from there, something, take something. And I have pile of these stones on my terrace here on the table, and every morning when I have my matcha tea, I stack my stones and remind myself that okay, I don't have to do everything today that I'm planning. I just focus on this, and how do I feel, where am I going, just ground yourself
I love
with
that. I love that. Having the little pieces from everywhere. It's funny because we were in Ireland and we were walking on a very beautiful beach and the ladies, some of the ladies, they picked up like little either shells or rocks and they're like this'll, remind me and I'm like to me those are the most beautiful souvenirs is those that we connect to and they were looking at it and just very detailed and it's beautiful. It's such a good memento. I love that. And so you mentioned retreats a few times. So
Yes.
do you host retreats? You're going to put together a
Yeah.
retreat? What does that look like?
Yes, there's this kind of ongoing retreat going on at La Siesta Denia where I stay. We have offer a lot of transformative retreat exercise activities there where I stay. But there is on my trails, while it's one once you start journeying, one serendipitous moment leads you to another. I ran into a Finnish couple who runs this gorgeous boutique hotel here in Alcalá, Alicante, and the place is a transportive itself. It's inside this valley. They have their own olive grove. There's mountains surrounding it, and there's this water running. They have it's just quiet, peaceful place. There, we are hosting this October from 9 to 12 a transformative retreat where people are. It's a great way to explore traveling on your own with a purpose and a frame to it. They have 20 different rooms are available in there, and what we will be doing, it's nature based. We'll be meeting local people or the foreigners who have changed their lives, moved here, opened restaurants. We'll be cooking with local chefs, tasting wines, immersing into the surroundings and the lifestyle. So it's a very immersive cultural as well as an experience to travel together, but on your own. There is coaching and journaling with like-minded women on that trip.
That's wonderful. And for anybody that's interested, I will also have all of Mirka's information and websites and how you can get in touch with her in the show notes. So you don't have to take notes while you're listening to this. Mirka, what is one piece in closing of advice that you would give to somebody who is in transition, doesn't know where to go, just doesn't, is like overwhelmed, doesn't know where to go, wants to make a change, but doesn't know what, doesn't know how? What would you suggest to this person?
Just stop for a moment. Be brave enough to give yourself time and listen. You don't have to make the biggest trip. Do something. Find a friend or your own. And to me, a coach was a helpful. My friend coach, I didn't understand it then, but she's the one when she repeated certain things back to me. It gave me clarity on that, what I already knew. Sometimes we need a friend's advice on that. And I encourage you all, it's never too late. Don't look back. Don't think it's gone. It's never gone. We journey on. That's what I recommend.
Journey on. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Mirka. And I could talk to you about for hours about this subject because I am so deeply connect with it too. And it took me a while to figure it out too, right? That it's
Mm.
there's never the right time. It's the right time when you slow down enough to listen. And that's really what I feel like I'm actually in the process of doing. So I'm in the process of getting everything ready and selling stuff and making that shift. So I can totally connect to it. We'll have to continue this conversation for sure. So
We
thanks
will.
for joining me here today with Just Travel with Sandy. And I hope today's episode, I think Mirka gave us so much to think about and to contemplate. And I really hope it gave you a boost of inspiration and maybe some practical tips to move you closer to your life or even the trip that you've been dreaming of. And if you loved what you heard, I'd be grateful for a subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women like you find their way to confident and joyful travel. And until next time, keep dreaming, keep planning, and keep exploring with heart. And always remember every great journey starts with a single step.